Harry's wife, part 101.47. He fucked up, but she won't let him see. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Most narcissists, particularly those that are of the lesser variety or mid-range, the appropriate sub-schools, require an intimate partner primary source. Sometimes it's a non-intimate partner primary source, a friend or a family member, but usually intimate. Boyfriend, girlfriend, cohab, partner, spouse. This is because essentially the prime aims of control, fuel, character traits and residual benefit can be obtained mainly from that one person, and therefore having one individual to control who provides most of the other material of the prime aims is naturally an appropriate use of resource. Remember, the narcissism prefers economy of effort. And rather than receiving an equal amount of fuel, character traits and residual benefits from, say, 10 or 20 people, the meaning that 10 or 20 people all have to be equally controlled, it's a better use of the narcissism's energy, the narcissist's resources and assets, for one chief person to be controlled. Harry is, of course, Harry's wife's intimate partner primary source. Easy to control. Main provider of fuel and a very potent level, provider of character traits and residual benefits, all of which I've explained in parts passim if you want to learn what those are. Harry finds himself in the grip of both her manipulations and emotional thinking, which causes him to fail to understand what's truly happening. If you want to understand more about that, see a recent video about Does He See the Lies, where I explain what's going on inside Harry's head. Here, there's an article by the pro-Sussex Mirror that lists all of the problems that Harry has experienced with regard to the recent events surrounding the death of his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II. The point of all of this is that it's being demonstrated as a pity play to make people apparently feel sorry for Harry and, by extension, Harry's wife with regard to this supposed ill treatment that they've been subjected to by the royal family and the United Kingdom as a whole. That's the purpose of it. It's been done by virtue of trying to elicit sympathy to enable Harry's wife to indirectly assert control over those individuals that threaten that control. However, it reads as a list of whining and whinging, but what it actually does is provide us with an excellent list to demonstrate how old Ginger Bollocks has royally fucked up. Let's go through the article and the list first of all. Initially stripped of his uniform before reuniting with his brother Prince William for a very public walkabout, Prince Harry has often stood apart as he honoured his grandmother. The article by Rosaline Fenton states as follows. There was optimism in the air as Prince William and Prince Harry publicly reunited, except they didn't, for the first time in months, in order to look at the tributes for their grandmother. Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales, and Harry's wife joined their husbands for an unannounced walkabout that saw the Fab Four chat with well-wishers outside Windsor Castle. But there was no eye contact or chatter between the brothers as they walked behind the Queen's coffin, nor between Kate and Harry's wife as they joined the pair in Westminster Abbey for the state funeral. Harry attended wearing a mourning suit to which his medals were pinned, as he wasn't allowed to wear military uniform alongside other royals. Boo-hoo. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex sat behind the King for the state funeral, oh dear, at Westminster Abbey, with one theory claiming it was to stop cameras from gaining shots of the two brothers together close up. Now, it has been reported that the Duke will soon be travelling back to California, where he now lives, with Harry's wife and their two children. At King Charles's request, Prince Harry wore military uniform for the vigil of the grandchildren for the first time since 2020. The U-turn followed an earlier announcement that the Duke of Sussex, who served for 10 years in the army, would be refused the right to wear uniform at the ceremonial events during the mourning period. But his spokesman said that the 38-year-old would wear a mourning suit throughout events honouring his grandmother, instead insisting that his decade of military service was not determined by the uniform he wears. It was then reported over the weekend that he told a friend, "People need to stop talking about this stuff and focus on my grandmother." Well, start by telling your wife that. But after the initial snub was reversed, the royal was reportedly devastated at having to remove the ER symbol from his military uniform as he held vigil by her coffin, even though Prince William was allowed to keep his. After the initials were not removed from Prince William, why would they be? He's a working royal. A close friend told the Sunday Times he is heartbroken. To remove his grandmother's initials feels very intentional. Yes, but you're not allowed them. Why? You're not a working royal. Why? You made that decision. Why? Because you're in the grip of your manipulative wife. Man up, Ginger. Reports suggested that Harry nearly decided to wear a mourning suit after all in order to avoid humiliation. But it doesn't seem to have been an intentional snub, as the initials are traditionally only worn by those in service of the monarch. The Duke of Sussex has worn civilian clothes at public events since the Queen died, after stepping back as a working royal 2 years ago. He had served 2 tours in Afghanistan as part of the army, while Prince William carried out more than 7 years of full-time military service, including 3.5 years as a search and rescue pilot. Prince Harry and Harry's wife were reportedly uninvited, no, not fucking invited in the first place, to the pre-funeral reception hosted by King Charles III on Sunday evening. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex received an invite to the state reception for world leaders and foreign royals earlier this week, but didn't attend after palace officials insisted it was for working members of the royal family only. The Telegraph reported that it was unclear why they were invited to an event that aides insisted they were not expected to attend. Well, what it means is they weren't invited in the first place. Sources close to the couple appeared baffled over the affair, with a royal source telling Page 6 Harry and Harry's wife actually got the invitation and no one has actually told them they are uninvited. Another insider told the site, "I'm told they only found out they were uninvited by reading press reports." The King and the Princess Royal were the only senior members of the royal family to make it to Balmoral, as they were already in Scotland, the Telegraph reported. Royals rushed to make it to the monarch's side after she suddenly declined, prompting Buckingham Palace to issue a rare statement on her health. The Prince of Wales, the Duke of York, and the Earl and Countess of Wessex flew from RAF Northolt before William drove them from the airport to the castle. The Duke of Sussex was also en route to Balmoral, but travelled alone, and it is believed he was mid-air when Buckingham Palace announced at 6:30 p.m. that the Queen had died, and arrived 90 minutes later after his flight left 20 minutes late. A source told the Telegraph that King Charles told the Duke of Sussex that the Queen had died 5 minutes before Buckingham Palace released the official announcement. The royal source said everyone was trying to get to where they needed to be. The source said that was the focus, and the King was adamant that the official statement must not be released until all members of the family had been informed. That was a father talking, because he cares. The grief-stricken Duke was photographed driving to join members of his family and reportedly spent the evening at the castle, away from Prince William and his father, who dined separately. Prince Harry was the first to leave Balmoral on Friday morning, driven out of the gates at 8:20 a.m. He later boarded a British Airways flight from Aberdeen to Heathrow, and it's thought to have returned to Frogmore Cottage, Windsor, where the Duchess of Sussex was waiting for him. All of this reads as if it's been ever so mean to poor old Prince Harry. Prince Harry is capable of looking at all of this and thinking, do you know what? I feel cheesed off that I wasn't allowed to wear military uniform, apart from during the vigil. I'm upset that my grandmother, my beloved grandmother's initials, weren't on my epaulettes. It hurts that I don't have a good relationship with my brother any longer, where I once did. I'm cheesed off that I seem to have been an afterthought with regard to getting to Balmoral. He will be hurt by all of these things and recognise them. However, unfortunately for him, his capacity to recognise that this has been effectively brought upon himself by the behaviour of him and his wife is denied to him. Why? His wife. If he were to sit in a moment of reflection and go, it really upset me that I didn't have her initials on my epaulets. She'll dive in and immediately state, well, that's because they're a racist, hating family, Harry. You know that. Come on, don't lose sight of it. Whenever he might attempt to get his head around that actually he has some culpability for these behaviours, if he were to articulate those thoughts, as he may well do, in front of his wife, that will threaten her control over him, because he's not attributing blame to the royal family, who of course are public enemy number one in the world of Harry's wife, and therefore him not towing the Sussex party line in such a way amounts to a threat of her control over him, because he's starting to work things out. Narcissists don't like you working things out. We like to keep you uncertain. We like to keep you guessing. We like to create those shifting sands, because then you're easier to control, and you're more likely to fountain with fuel. If you work things out and start to apply logic, of course many of you do as a consequence of my excellent work, that undermines the ability of the narcissist to control you. You become more and more difficult to control, which could prompt disengagement, dependent on the circumstances. Therefore, Harry's wife, driven by her instinctive narcissism, can't let him realise that he's fucked up, because if he does, he will then start to think, hang on a minute, I brought this on myself, and also because I listened to you. You made this happen. You have caused me to have this rift with my family, because I listened to you and what you told me. So she can't run that risk that he starts to join the dots, that he dots the I's and crosses the T's, that he works things out. And therefore, whenever is the sniff, the scintilla of an iota of the possibility of a suggestion that he's starting to realise that this might be his and her fault, her narcissism steps in to stamp it out and prevents him from seeing it by saying, no, Harry, they are the problem here, not us. Remember, we gave it 4 years to try and make it work. Oh, are you sure about that? That doesn't seem to add. Harry, what have I told you? You mustn't listen to them. Has that Princess Royal been pouring nonsense in your ear again? Has William been text messaging you? You told me that you'd tell me if he tried to get in contact with you. Her paranoia will cause her to believe that those members of the family are trying to influence him. She, of course, is incapable of seeing that she's wrong, and that by extension she's influenced Harry to take the wrong approach. Her narcissism won't allow that. And accordingly, even though this list, which is meant to be a pity play and to denigrate the royal family, actually reads more of a list of how Harry has fucked up. But the problem is, she will not yet let him, and will never let him, realise that has to come from somewhere else. And this enables you to understand more of the dynamic between the control that a narcissist must have over that ever so precious intimate partner primary source. How you must be treated like a mushroom, kept in the dark and fed shit. How you must be maintained in a state of confusion, maintained in a state of bewilderment, puzzlement, because then you're easier to control. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.